Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video. And in today's video I'm going to be giving you an Arakni solitary confinement list. We're going to be talking about this hero. This hero has now gone from the fringe to a meta deck in the Skirmish season, in my opinion, one of the top decks in the format due to its consistency and constant on-hit effects. We're going to talk about the list. Not going to go super in depth. I'm just going to give you kind of the down and dirty of the list and then let you make alterations from there based off your local meta. And yeah, just kind of talk about it. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hopefully you enjoy your stay and you're having a great day. If you're a long-staying supporter, thank you so much as always. We will get right into it. Let me pull it up here. So again, when it comes to this list, there is multiple ways you can build this. Blitz is a very finicky format, right? There's not a lot of life. Games are normally pretty short unless you're running a fatigue hero. So definitely build the list to your local meta. For example, before I get into the full list, like I only run 2 pick-to-pieces in my list because I might have 1 Prism or 1 Illusionist where I have to worry about a board state to prevent, right? Whereas someone, if you have a lot of Illusionists in your meta, maybe you'll run 4 pick-to-pieces, right? So definitely that's just one example, but make alterations to this list based off your local meta, what you see fit, and so forth. Before I get into my list, also, if I remember to link it, I will link Connor Leverton's list from the Battle Hard Manila. They placed top 8 with Arakni Solitary Confinement, and they were running some really cool stuff that I'm not running. They're running like Red Double Trouble, Red Infect, Red Pick to Pieces, That All You Got, and stuff like Hold the Line. So really, really cool list. So definitely check that out as well. But we'll get right into it. Try to give you the down and dirty of the list. The first thing is the equipment. So what stays the same with Arakni typically is the head and the boots, whether it's Arakni Solitary Confinement or Arakni Huntsman, doesn't matter. Both of these are solid pieces of equipment. What is different about the Blitz list is typically, and especially now, you can run Red Back Shroud, which I am so happy. I literally have the card right here. I've been wanting to run the extended art card for so long. I love the art of this card. But what Red Back Shroud is while it's in your graveyard, start your turn, you can destroy 2 silver to bring it back. Attack reaction, destroy Red Back Shroud. The next attack reaction you play this turn costs 1 less to play. Has battle 1/1. The reason this is important is it lets you play attack reactions that cost 1 for free onto a stealth attack that has Go Again. So you can play cards like Spike with Blood Rot, Spreading Plague, even like Razor Reflex if you want to, in order to get a lot of value on those attacks. So that's what we're running for a myriad of reasons. One, the mask and the boots kind of do what most assassin players know they do, which is give our attacks Go Again when we need it, which you don't need a whole lot with the Whispers in this deck, and the mask helps to mill their deck a little bit faster. But what all of these equipment pieces also do is they count as attack reactions towards Bonds of Agony, which we'll talk about here in a second. So since you can take this deck a lot of different ways, I'm going to kind of give you a couple small deck building principles that I think can help you if you're a little bit lost on, like, you don't exactly want to play this version of the list, but you want to start from scratch and build your own. One thing is attack density. The thing that changed with Arakni Solitary Confinement is this deck wasn't quite consistent enough before Misfail to be like a top deck. It did have a slew of stealth attacks from Uziri's kit with Infect, Sedate, Malign, all of those stealth attacks, but they didn't quite do enough in terms of on hits sometimes for decks that could go a little bit faster than you. So the deck was basically like a fatigue deck that, relied on key attacks like Leave No Witnesses, Surgical, and Command and Conquer in order to like get really good value offensively. Since the change now with the Misfail cards like Our Desire Body, Desire of the Flesh, attack reactions like Justinic, Persuasive Prognosis, and Bonds of Agony, this deck is greatly changed into almost like a mid-range tempo deck. Because all of your first stealth attack gets Go Again, being able to play cards like Bonds of Agony with automatic Go Again, threatening that devastating on hit with your attack reactions, it's just very, very good. Your play patterns, you're typically, when you can safely do it, you're wanting to block with 2 cards, attack with 2 cards. You're wanting to block with 2 cards and then go something along the lines of like Our Desire Body with Go Again into Plunder the Poor with Go Again and be able to threaten 7 damage over the course of your turn without having to use your boots, and also threaten 2 banishes, right? Really, really good for that. So you're really wanting to play that mid-range game when you can, while also being highly efficient at blocking because all of your armor blocks, and you have all 3 blocks in the deck except for Codex. So you have to keep that in mind. And so because of that change from a tempo perspective, I like to have a little bit more attack density in the deck than before. Usually in a blitz deck with Arakni Solitary Confinement or just Assassin in general, you could run anywhere from like 22 to 26 attacks, and the rest would be like sigils, sinks, fates. As you notice, there's no defense reactions in this list. Oasis, stuff like that, and you're really just trying to mill your opponent. Whereas in this deck, you want to have like 28 to 30 attacks. As you can see here, I have 6, 8, 10, 12, around 30 attacks, I'd say, in the main board, which is a good amount. So that's one change. The second thing is your attack reactions. Redback Shroud's a lot more consistent now, so you're able to run a lot of those stuff with Spike with Blood Rot and Spreading Plague because you're playing attack reactions onto attacks you really want to hit, like Bonds of Agony and things of that nature. So that's another big thing. The second thing that you want to decide is, like, do you want to be more defensive or not? As you notice in this list, it almost plays more like a mid-range list. I don't have sinks in here. I don't have fates. I do have Oasis in the sideboard, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I'm more going for this, the devastating on hits, and really trying to outvalue my opponent through my mill and through my on hits. So if you wanted to, you could switch out Spike with Blood Rot for Sink Below. And then maybe you take out one Shred and one Spreading Plague and put in Fate for Scenes if you want to be a little bit more defensive. That's completely fine. It all depends on your local meta and what you want to do. For me, going into the contracts first, I want to have a okay amount of contracts because I want to be able to buy back some of this equipment if I can. Typically with this Arakni list, this is the newest version of my list. I've only played 3 matches on it on this list, but I played like, I'd say 20, 25 matches. As you can see, just in these 3, my average turns and wins and losses is 7, just with these 3 games. In my other like 20, 25 games, I'm assuming it's around the same. And so because of that, you can have a good chance at buying back 1, maybe 2 pieces of equipment, right? So definitely run some contract cards if you can. If you just want to run Leave No Witnesses and Surgical, that's fine. I'm running Leave No Witnesses and Surgical Extraction, but I'm also running Annihilate the Armed and Plunder the Poor. These are the 4 cards that have the highest chance for silver production, and so because of that, those are what I'm running. When it comes to stealth cards at red, I'm running Art of Desire Body. This is a very good card. When it hits a hero, banish top card of their deck. If it's a red card, you draw a card and gain a life. The draw used to be a little bit weird, like on Codex with Arakni Solitary Confinement, because you could draw into something like a Spreading Plague or a Shred, which wasn't always a good thing because we had cards like Infect and Sedate and Malign and what have you. Sometimes people just don't care about those cards. So arsenaling one of these 2 attack reactions was a little bit shady because you might not be able to use it. Whereas now, basically every attack on our deck matters. It will mill them or do some type of devastating on hit effect, so people want to block you. I've had times where I put Spreading Plague in my arsenal and I played Bonds of Agony next turn, 1 go again with 2 other cards in hand, or 1 other card in hand even, and they're scared that I'm going to pop my equipment and play like a Justinic, so they just throw their whole hand because they're like, okay, whatever, I'm not going to take a bunch of damage and lose cards from my deck. I'm just going to block 12 and try again. And then you play a Spreading Plague and they take 8, right? So because of the Blood Rot Pox on their turn. So it's a little bit more consistent. You even could argue running blue Shreds in the list as well. So keep that in mind. When it comes to other red attacks, I am running Command and Conquers. I know Connor was not. I'd be interested to hear Connor's. I guess Connor was really going for like a low to the ground, 0 cost list other than some of the reactions, which makes complete sense. Running Desires of Flesh, which is very good. Similar effect to Body. As you notice, all of these stealth attacks threaten banishing cards, which is what we care about. We want to mill our opponent's deck while also playing a little bit of a tempo game plan. Then we have Infiltrate. It's always been a really fun card. If it hits, it does some pretty cool things. We're running Justinic as a reaction. This card, when coupled with stuff like Persuasive Prognosis, Double Trouble, Bonds of Agony, it just gets really stupid really fast. We're also running Razor's Edge and Spike with Blood Rot, just really, really good attack reactions. Again, if we do that play pattern of blocking with 2 cards, attacking with 2 cards, our opponent doesn't know, are we going to go our Desire Body into Infiltrate? Are we going to go Body into Spike with Blood Rot and then we don't have anything else? Like, your opponent doesn't know what you're going to be doing. And so because of that, you really can, prey on your opponent's poor decision making or just put them in a lose-lose situation. Then we have Codex. This is a really good card. Of note, if you do not own Command and Conquer or own Codex, I know not everyone does, Command and Conquer, just put something good in, like Red Double Trouble. If you own something like Censor or Amnesia, those could be very good because Zen is very good in Blitz. But if you don't have Command and Conquer, it's no sweat. Just put in a really good substitution. Codex Frailty, there is no true substitute. I personally would just put in another good stealth attack. Or you could put in even a reaction if you want to, maybe some sync belows, just some good value stuff. It's nothing too crazy. Then we're running Shred and Spreading Play, kind of just talked about those already. And finally, we're running a good suite of blues. Of note, Our Desire Mines, very solid. Bonds of Attraction and Double Trouble, also very solid, right? Those are kind of, just run-of-the-mill, good stealth attacks. The key ones are, we're running Pick to Pieces only at blue because I know I'm only going to have like one illusionist in my area at my skirmish. But if you know you're going to have more, maybe run 4 of this card. Bonds of Agony is so good in this deck because it has automatic go again. It puts your opponent in such a bad spot. There's been times where I've had Bonds of Agony on a 2-card hand and then I had Infiltrate. And I threw a Bonds of Agony out and I still had like Redback Shroud up and Mask of Perdition up and 1 card in hand, and they're like, oh crap, he has Adjust the Nick and he's going to hit me for like 10. So they throw like 4 cards in front of it and then you attack with something else. Or they throw 3 cards in front of it, you just move to your next chain link and then you attack with something else. So it's really funny how that works out. It just demands so much respect in the 20 health format. It's so good. Then we have Persuasive Prognosis, again for similar reasons, just demands so much respect. And finally, Surgical Extraction. So pretty cut and dry list, nothing too crazy. Definitely give it a try, change some things if you want to. When it comes to the sideboard, I'm running AB3. You have to respect Blaze and Emperor in this format. You just have to. And I think we're going to have a couple of them in our locals. So I have AB3 with Oasis in the sideboard. I made enough room for it. So because you're allowed to sideboard now as long as you stay at a 40-card core. So in those matchups, I just take out Spike with Blood Rot and I put in Oasis in its place. To be able to help prevent that Arcane a little bit more. And then finally, we have 3 Toll Daggers in the list with Nerve Scalpel, Scale Peeler, and Spider's Bite. You just play whatever dagger is appropriate. Way back when, if you want to go take a look, I have a video talking about like what daggers to play into who. It was more CC oriented, but it at least can give you a good idea. But yeah, pretty cut and dry list. Definitely check out this list. Check out Connor's list if you want to as well. Definitely some cool ways to play the hero. I think the hero's in a really good spot. I think it can mill and threaten Wizard very well. Zen, when Zen does Zen's stupid thing, it's really bad, but also this can just mill Zen out potentially. It has really no terrible matchups. The only like kind of shady matchup is Illusionists. If you know you're going to have a lot of Illusionists in your area, maybe you add in stuff like Already Dead and Amnesia or Blanche or something like that to be able to just help with popper control a little bit. But other than that, really solid list. Been really enjoying it. Like I said, I've had like 20-25 games on this list. Nothing crazy. The list I'm linking to you, though, you'll be able to add to it. But yeah, let me know what you think. If you like this type of content, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe. If not me, it's totally fine. Go to another creator, leave a like, comment, subscribe on their stuff so we can get more people seeing this game. And I'll see y'all next time on TCG Talk. Stay safe.